Well, joining us now on the second segment is
Octavio.
Okay, I got it. Octavio. Yeah.
He is a two-time cancer survivor. Congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations.
Today is a special day.
Today is a special day. I'm very grateful for you guys having me in. July 11th of 2007, I was at the hospital at Sylvester Cancer with my oncologist, and I was cleared of cancer after
the
second battle.
Yeah.
So today is a special day, and 8 years from now, it's been 8 years from then, and I've been on a journey, a very, very intense journey on a lot of different things, and of course is to get people to find hope, have faith, and live with purpose. That's my message, of course.
Yep.
But I'll make the short version of the story. Basically, 2004, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. We were talking about, the different types of men. It took me 7 months. I just wrote an article for the Miami Herald. Usually, it takes about 7 months for a man to actually go to the doctor.
Oh my
So that's
gosh.
actually been tested.
Are you serious?
It takes about 6 to 7 months. And
After they get symptoms.
After they get symptoms, correct.
Oh
whatever symptoms, like my new good friend here just spoke about, it takes 6 to 7 months. I wrote an article for the Miami Herald talking about that as well, for prostate cancer, testicular cancer, any type of cancer for men. So it literally took me 7 months to make an appointment.
Oh my gosh.
I was diagnosed August 13th, Friday, August 13th of 2004. I was immediately into surgery on August 16th. And then, of course, I thought it was out. I'm good. Lance Armstrong had the worst kind of testicular cancer. He's still alive running races, so I'm pretty good. I had faith enough at that moment. But what happened was they had me back in the hospital, and they said that what I did find was an immature teratoma. Immature teratoma is terminal because it grows different types of cancers and are extremely aggressive. So at that moment, God kind of got my attention. That was it. That's when my calling started. Those 2 years, I did all the research you can think of, from Germany to Mexico to Canada to every type of, you name it. Every country that has it out of the United States that has been testing for this. It's a case study. It was less than a chapter in the oncology book. But what it did, it built my relationship with God. And that's where I am now today. In those 2 years, my relationship with God got to the point where I knew I would be healed no matter what happened. 2 years later, I got cancer again. I did the holistic approach. I did vitamin C injections. I did holistic diets. I did everything, just like my friend said. It didn't work for me. That doesn't mean that I haven't met a lot of people that it's helped for. It's just what I have is extremely, extremely aggressive and is very rare. There's not enough cases to become even enough to talk about, like prostate or testicular or anything like that. And in 2006, August 2006, literally 2 years later, I was in the emergency room. The PET scan showed that all my organs were covered with cancer.
Oh my God.
Numerous types. So it wasn't just one, it was numerous types and different kinds at the same exact time. Again, been a trainer, I eat well, don't do drugs. I can't say I never drank, but I don't drink on a daily basis. But no drugs, no smoking, nothing.
Was it hereditary? Any cancers hereditary in your family?
There's cancer in my family, but when you talk about an immature teratoma, there is no DNA testing that would do it. My dad's prostate cancer, he's been battling for years. He's 82, he's great. He's taking his medication. 82, he looks amazing. My grandmother had lung cancer and stopped taking medication when my grandfather was ill. She decided not to do any more medication, but she lived 6 years with cancer. Medication free on faith. Just to take care of my grandfather. That was, again, like I always tell people, there is always something you can look back to find out why you are where you are and why you are where you're going. So to me, it's like there were examples of different testimonies in my life to get to the point that I felt this was my purpose, to go through this. So now we're at a point where I had to go through chemotherapy, but no one wanted to take me. No doctor wanted to take my case because they thought I was dead. So one doctor took my case. It was like I felt like I was in, like one of those death sentences. I'm in the jail. I'm getting ready to get into the electric chair, and then somebody says, "Oh, by the way, he's innocent."
Right.
So Dr. Benedetto, Sylvester Cancer, called. I'll make this real quick. He called. He said, "Send him down." I was on ambulance on morphine. And I remember looking at the sign said 95 South, and I said, "Oh, we're going to Club Space." For those of you who don't know, Club Space is a very famous club in South Beach. I used to DJ when I was younger, so of course those things always come to mind. But I was having fun because I was on morphine at the time. But the other part is that I felt that this was it. This was the instrument that God was going to use. I didn't know what it was going to be. And at that moment, Dr. Benedetto didn't know what to do. He just said, we're going to try something. Anyway, make a long story short, first chemo was 14 rounds, 14 chemos in one round. I lost 57 pounds.
Wow.
He said, we're going to send you home for 5 days. If you come back, this was like multiple death sentences throughout those months, we'll start round 2. I was 124 pounds. I took the testimony picture that I shared with you, Simone.
Yes.
And at that moment, I pointed up at God, I smiled, and I said that I will never lose another pound because I was not going to die. Now, that was out of already 2 years of prayer and 2 years of getting to the point that I said, my faith is going to heal me. So at that moment, I believed that to the T. There was nothing about it. But it took 2 years to get there. People think, oh, I just prayed. No, no, no. 2 years of me, literally, developing a relationship with God to get to that point. Fast forward 7 rounds, 98 chemos. I worked out after my 3rd round. I started going to the gym. I was 128 pounds. I started taking supplements. I literally started doing everything that I had learned for other people that I had basically taught, and started doing it myself and starting from scratch. It was basically my body was at a point of losing muscle, losing everything, skin and bones, and getting back. And December 31st, 2006, it was my last chemo. It was number 98. I went home. I celebrated New Year's Eve watching TBN. I was watching TBN and my best friend Javen, he's a gospel singer, was there on One Night with the King, the movie of Esther, the story of Esther. So that's how I celebrated my New Year's 2007. But I asked God, no more chemo. And I woke up January. I got a phone call from my doctor in January 5th or 6th, and he said, David, we are going to get you prepped for surgery February 1st. February 1st, 2007 was my rebirth, I call it, because all the tumors were taken out.
Wow.
My lymph nodes, I lost a kidney, I lost part of my colon, intestines, they cut everything. Put me all back together, stapled me back up. I woke up a day later, and I left the hospital February 7th. The big news was my mother went to see the doctor after my surgery, and my doctor said there was no sign of cancer in my body.
Incredible story. My God.
So that was the healing power. Now, what happens after that? I go into this journey. How do I share my story? Well, 4 weeks later I started training again. Went to the gym. I set a goal. It was just hosting Fitness Universe of that year. Back on stage at 150 hosting the show. It was one of the largest fitness shows internationally. And I was back on stage in August doing a fashion show, which is what I had done 2 days before I ended up in the emergency room, doing a fashion show, which I love doing. But the biggest thing was 10 years ago, before that date, I had one of my employees at the gym tell me that if I ever thought about speaking at a church, or if I ever thought of myself being in a pulpit speaking, period. Not about being a pastor per se, but, and I said, no, man, I'm going to do modeling and acting and all this stuff.
Little did you know.
Little did I know. So my best friend is singing for his mom. Make a long story short, he says, listen, David, I want you to present me. I said, sure, Javen. I said, anything you need. I jump up and he goes, oh, by the way, I want you to share your testimony today. And at that moment, the camera was rolling already because I was recording his concert. And I ended up sharing, basically, God's plan.
Wow.
That was basically the plan for my whole life. And of course, I say I was sharing God's plan because I always believe when I speak is Him speaking through me, not me speaking for me. And at that moment, I knew that this was my purpose. At some point, I had to let go of my job, my career, whatever, and focus on this.
That's right.
And what has happened, basically, is going through now, we've been prepared for it.
That's right.
21 years of personal training. 15 years or 16 years of coaching, consulting, business development, meeting people, socializing, speaking at motivational speaking at schools, speaking everything. I used to speak at schools about diabetes, which we're going to talk next, and things like that. And now I had something now that gave me a platform to be able to get people to actually listen.
There's 2 things I was thinking when you were saying that. You know, there's preparation and then presentation. Those are the 2 stages you're in always. You know, in your life, you're either preparing for something or presenting, you know, the result of that. That's the one thing. The second thing I always say is your present has been pre-sent. So, you know, it's already preordained. You know, God knows that this is a moment that's here. It's been pre-sent.
Yes, sir.
So all you have to do is be aware and in relationship to receive the message to be able to engage.
Yes,
third thing is this. We mentioned earlier how health, emotions are a huge part of the negative impact, the hormones and stuff like that. One of the things I'm hearing you say is even throughout, see, cancer a lot of the time kills people because it kills their spirit. It kills their spirit, and that's how they die. So I'm hearing from you that there's something for you to maintain. Imagine you hear just to hear the word, "Oh, you got it."
Yeah,
automatically your body goes right into fight or flight,
right.
right? And then maintaining that redlining for 6 to 9, 12 months, a year, 2 years,
Right.
that'll kill you faster than the cancer will.
Yeah.
Not to mention the doctors experiment on you sometimes and put all kind of drugs in you that you don't even know. Like, at least my mom had passed away from cancer, and they were doing all kinds of stuff. And
No, they wanted to do the same thing to me.
Yeah.
But when you're telling me you don't have a cure, you don't do anything to me.
Right.
So that's why I went the holistic way. It didn't work for me, but God had a plan, like we saw. But the other
That's
thing,
the power.
the other thing I blacked out. I blacked out when I had cancer. When the doctor said in 2004 I had cancer, I blacked out. Even though I knew, I already knew for 7 months. I knew it, but I blacked out because your body, your mind already went.
Mind is worse than that. That's the biggest. The biggest hurdle is maintaining the mind. So I think it's powerful that you brought that up, because the faith is what enables you to keep that positive energy, and more importantly, the mind over matter, which of course I know you can speak to more than in the Reiki specialist, and of course with the Eastern medicine you can speak to that, and just in general, many of you listening. Stress is a huge part of it.
Yeah, I want to add something before we end the air. A lot of things start in the digestive system. So I want to make sure that people understand this. The biggest thing that I've found out as a trainer, coach, or even going through cancer is the fact of making sure your digestive tract is clean. Make sure that you're not constipated, that you are, exercising. Just go for a walk for 10 minutes. I don't need you to go to the gym for an hour. Go for the walk. Go up and down the stairs, and you'll see where your lungs are at. That's the biggest test. Biggest test. Go up and down the stairs and see if you can even do that. But the biggest thing is make sure you're clean. Make sure you're eating your fiber or taking vegetables and things like that to clean your digestive system.
warm water in the morning is a good one.
Over a gallon of water a day is minimum, especially in South Florida, because you will dehydrate.
Right.
Start with 8 ounces of water in the morning. Start with and 8 ounces of water before you go to bed. And I promise you're going to end up in the bathroom immediately in the morning. Cleaning yourself, and that would benefit so many things, especially for diabetes or for any of this thing, which causes a circulation.